All right, so what's up, everyone? Obviously, the dynamic duo is back. The Flint Nation bandwagon rider, your boy, Greg Horn, one of the greatest analysts that have ever graced the Legacy League court. And I'm with the other GOAT, Connor Sauer. Connor, how you doing? Let the people know how you're doing on this fine evening.
Man, it feels weird not doing the intro for the first time ever. My man, Greg Horn, coming in hot, as he always does. It's been a week of hot takes for Greg Horn. So why stop now? Let's keep it rolling. Had to get him going right off the rip. And that was basically completely something that we just freestyled. Greg said, yo, throw the intro my way. And we just did it like instantly, blink of an eye. Greg's hosting it basically. But I got you guys the rest of the way. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave you with this hooligan. We got a long episode. We got a bunch of great action to break down. Greg, dude, let's get right into it. And let's start off with, what we normally start off with, our first segment, the surprise on the rise. And, this is those weeks, Greg, it starts getting tougher to do these surprise on the rise episodes because a lot of those players, the cream rises to the top and, they've already established themselves now. So it's hard to continue picking those types of guys. But, this week was a weird week for the surprise on the rise because we're going with a team. Not only are we going with a team, we're going with a team that lost, Greg. So why don't you explain our surprise on the rise, who it is, and why we chose them?
So pretty much we are going with a team that, probably isn't a surprise to many people. We all know Team Moose. We all love Team Moose. I mean, I hate Team Moose. I've always hated Team Moose. I'm Stephen A. Smith of the Cowboys. It's the best way I could put it. But we love them. Obviously with losing Melquan Horton for the season because he has to go work is obviously something that's a huge blow. They're losing arguably their best player. Maybe not their most important because of Brad, but definitely their best player. And Brad has been sick. He's been on the IR, I guess we could say, because he hasn't been there for these 4 games. And, I mean, it's huge. But you really got to look and really dive into the box score and just see what Team Moose did against, which I think me and Connor consider, and I think everyone would consider, we'll say undebatably a top 5 team in the league. And that's Run TMC. I mean, Run TMC put up 115, but Team Moose only lost by 14 with a one-on-one effort. And they only had 3 players. And not only 3 players – they had 3 players that when you think of Team Moose, you think of Brad, you think of Kevin, you think of someone like Connor Daly even, or a Melquan. But these 3 players that they had on this season, this year, I mean, Connor, you were talking last week about Will Ingersoll. This year, he's averaging 27 points per game. Matt Machozi's now averaging 18 a game. And Jesse Morrow on the year is only averaging 8. But those stats are so inflated because of what they did. And what they did was so impressive. Will Ingersoll was 52 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists. Machozi shooting 52% from the field, 38% from 3. When is the last time we saw Team Moose take 48 threes in a game? I don't think I've ever seen it. And I want to say this, why they're surprised. They should maybe start shooting more threes. They have guys on their team. They shot 39% from 3 on the game. That is extremely efficient. So for the biggest reason they're a surprise for me, I don't know about you, Connor, is the fact that they're hitting threes and they got players that can stretch the floor and hit threes. So if they do come back next year, or if Brad comes back with Kevin and they all start to get healthy, I know they don't have Melquan, but they can shoot now, and that's surprising. So watch out.
Yeah, and they had to really transition from being a defensive team to more of an offensive team that game. And I got the jerseys in the back, so I'm going to throw a comparison at you, baby. This reminds me of a Steelers team, dude. The Steelers, had always been a defensive-based team, going back to the days of Troy Polamalu, Ike Taylor, James Harrison, James Ferrier. We just had so many great defensive players on our team, especially when I started watching them, that it was the defense that made them special. And then we had to transition as years went on and guys started to retire and age, and the defense crumbled and, became more of an offensive-based team. And I'm starting to see that transition happen now with this Team Moose team. Because let's talk about it. Like the guys that they're starting to lose now, rumors are Melquan Horton, might not come back for the rest of the year. Brad Seaman, I heard that he is dealing with an illness still. So, that's another guy who, on the shelf. So, I see some comparisons I can draw up. And now they're having to change personnel. And really, this guy Will, who came out of the woodworks, Mazak's shooting the 3. They got some weapons now from the outside that are going to have to start stepping up and scoring more points with the 3 ball because, what's their big 3? Kevin Blake didn't show up. He's dealing with an ankle injury. So, their team's banged up and battered, and they're having to change their identity. And, I'm a Steelers fan, so I had to make that reference. But, I really do see some genuine comparisons there. But for me, this Team Moose team is just special because they went without their big three. They weren't just missing their best player, their second best player. They're missing all three of their best players, and somehow hung in there with a team in the league. And they came in with Run TMC probably came in with even top 3 expectations. So top 5 is almost disrespectful to them at this point. But they are definitely one of the top tier teams in the league, and they have to really, hang in there and fight it out with Moose, who was shorthanded. Not only just shorthanded, but playing, without the bare minimum of guys. 3v4 out there, which is tough, and it's really, it's tough to win games like that. But they did their best, and they hung in there and showed us a lot of heart. So deserving of surprise on the rise. So, Greg, let's jump right into these games. You're the big Flint guy. He's led off the show with the bandwagon reference. Let's jump on it right away, man. They took care of business once again, staying hot in the league. Flint Tropics with a big win, 63-52 over Sportslook. And TJ Gianni, man. Some of these analysts, I can tell when I'm watching the game with these guys, they loved some TJ Gianni. This kid, he's got that swagger. He's got the dunk where he's got the hand behind his head. He's just funny. He puts a smile on your face. He wets threes. He's just a very good basketball player that he's really entertaining to watch on the basketball court. Alongside guys like Mike and Dom and Drew and Sear. They got so many weapons, Greg. So once again they kicked some ass, and this was a big win over a really physical team. They took care of business.
No, yeah, I mean, shout out Jeff Norco. I just want to give him credit once again. This man comes, he delivers every week. He's one of the strongest players in this league. He had 26 points on 84% shooting. This man, come to Trumbull in sports, fucking look at the bandana, excuse my language, and watch Jeff Norco play basketball. He is absurd. It is, who is it? Sam Leventhal, former co-host of the podcast came, and he was literally in shock watching this man play. It's the most unorthodox, beautiful game I've ever seen. It is just masterful out there. With that being said, Flint Nation, baby. I mean, we do what we do. We come and we take it. I mean, that's what Flint does. Flint doesn't worry about anything. We come in and we get the dubs and we leave. And that's what Flint did. TJ Gianni, I'm going to get a little nerd right now. TJ Gianni leads the league in efficient field goal percentage, which is the number of smart shots you take. It essentially combines all the shots that you take and how many minutes you play. He's at 69% compared to Reggie Stort and Mike Davis's 41 and 51%. Granted, they do take more shots, but TJ Gianni's banging. He didn't miss a shot in this game. He was 6 of 6 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3. Oh, and he was 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Even though we'd love to see you get to 4 of 4, TJ, so you guys step that up. But still, he is one of the better shooters in this league. I'd say he's probably top 5 right now, just at the way he's playing. If he can keep this up with this Flint team, they got something else that they didn't have. They got Mike Druid, who's coming at you. Nick Japs and Tyler Japs are both playing extremely well, and Mike Bizzuto is playing some of the best basketball I've seen this year. I'll throw it to you right now, and I'll tee you up. Matt Sear.
Dude, I've been a big Matt Sear guy. Going back all the way to my first season in Legacy Leagues, and it came down to the end of the year, and he got snubbed for the all-defensive team. And I'll tell you what, Matt Sear, you had my vote and then some. I was doing everything I can to get Matt Sear on that ballot, but I'm only one voice amongst a bunch of people that vote in those things, and couldn't get the momentum I needed. But if I'm not mistaken, he might have made it last season. But he's a great defensive player, dude. He's unbelievable, and you could tell he's a very athletic kid. He's very athletic, but you wouldn't expect him to be that good at shot blocking. He's sneaky with his shot blocking. He's got guys with 40, 50 pounds on him sometimes, and they just try to hit the little baby hook on him, and he leaps up and swats it. No, not in my house. So definitely an elite defender who just knows where to place himself and when to jump, and he's got some, like I said, some sneaky athletic qualities that make him a very scary rim protector in a lot of ways. So shout out Matt Sear. Greg, I've always been a big Matt Sear guy. So let's keep it moving, Greg. We just talked about this game, so let's make this one a little bit quick. TMC versus Moose. Even though TMC walks away with a 115-101 victory, man, this Team Moose hung in there, like you said before, Greg. Will Ingersoll with the 50 bomb, 17 boards, 6 assists. But the commish, man, Joey Zock, 30 points, 8 assists. All of his points coming by way of the 3 ball. Got a couple of rebounds as well. So Joey had a really impressive game, former teammate, so I was proud of him out there. What you see in this game, Greg?
No, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll keep it short. We just talked about this. Run Team C is playing great basketball. I think it's all really starting to come together, and I think it's sort of like LeBron. They're like LeBron right now with the Lakers when they're without him. They are all extremely talented, and they're starting to figure out how to play without Reggie, just like the Lakers are trying to figure out how to play without LeBron. And with Reggie only coming to 2 of the 4 games, I think they're starting to really figure it out. Howie Miller's starting to shoot. I mean, that's the Howie Miller we're accustomed to seeing this week with the 33 points. That's the Howie that can light it up and shoot over 40% from 3, and that's the one we know. Reggie Stewart, again, this is my concern, though, in this Run TMC team. He has 36 points per game. That's 9 more than anyone else in the league. They need, which I think is we're seeing the evolution right before our eyes, is that they're starting to learn how not to rely on Reggie and get it for themselves because their team is stacked from top to bottom. So Run Team C is trending extremely upward.
Yeah, that's well said, Greg. You definitely got to take into account when, certain guys aren't there and the impact that, they may or may not have had on a game. And when it comes to Reggie Stewart, there's no questioning the impact that he has on a game. So well said there. Let's keep it moving, Greg. The next one, Nick Strong taking on Shocker City. And, Shocker City walks away here 189 over Nick Strong. But at the end of the day, man, this Nick Strong team that wasn't an authoritative enough win for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this Nick Strong team hung in there for too long. But, thank God that Shocker City has this guy, Greg Daniels, now. Greg, what an absolute animal, dude. Whether it's Greg Langston, Greg Daniels, or Greg Horn, they just all seem to be goats at the Legacy Leagues. Something with the name Greg, I guess. But 22, 9, 4 assists, 3 blocks. This guy just does it all, Greg.
I wish I could share my screen. I probably can, but I'm not going to obviously do it live. But there is a dunk he had, which I believe is in the top plays. So go watch it on our YouTube channel, the Legacy Leagues. But he flies to the rim. He caught it one-handed. He's literally half his body's up. This man reminds me of Russ Payton, just bigger and a little better shooter. This man is a problem. And he is going to be such a dynamic threat for the Shocker City team, which already has Mike Davis, which already has Devon Pratt, who's having a career season shooting over 65% from the field and 50% from 3. I mean, Greg Daniels is averaging 27 points per game, which is 3rd in the league and first in the league in field goal percentage at 76. He is a monster who cannot be stopped. But shout out Nick Straw. They are fighting in every game this year, no matter who they play. They make the most of it. They have fun. You never see them – look, they complain, but you never see them get down on themselves. They're just pulling. They're having fun. Even after the game, they clown each other. And Nick Strong's going to do that forward. I mean, someone I wanted to make the surprise in their eyes, but we did him before, obviously, is Ryan Florentine, my guy Linguini from Italy. And last season he averaged 15, 6, 3, 1, and 1. This year he's averaging 15, 9, 2, 2, 2. He's improving. And that 2-2-2 is impressive. He gets 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks per game. That is just he is right now 4th in the Legacy Leagues in blocks, 5th in steals, and 5th in rebounds. He is a dynamic player that Nick Strong really didn't have last year because he came in late, and he's really starting to blossom. Yeah,
I agree, dude. And all it takes is in this league is just to get adjusted and develop, and once that starts to click, you really start to see guys step up their game. But yeah, definitely some good analysis there, Greg. The next game, man, this one was not going to take too long to go through because it didn't happen. The Young Kings and the Gentlemen's Club were scheduled to play, but unfortunately, Gentlemen's Club, as far as I'm sure, couldn't get guys to show up for this game. We'll go with that for now. Young Kings get the win by default just because of the forfeit by Gentlemen's Club. Greg, talk about, the missed opportunity here for the Gentlemen's Club, against a team that, is very closely ranked to them in our power rankings. And, and what's it mean for the Young Kings who now have a win under their belt. And, even though it's not a win where they showed up and they balled out, it's always nice to get one and be up on the standings,
No, yeah, I mean, a missed opportunity. I think Nick Strong still is Gentlemen's Club's best opportunity to get a win, but I mean, I just don't know if they could even do it. I think Young Kings obviously would have still beat, friggin' Gentlemen's Club. I can't even remember their name because they don't even show up to games. But regardless of that, I feel like Stephen A. Smith. it's just I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. The Young Kings, they really have a bright future. Gentlemen's Club missed a huge opportunity, especially because they have really two chances this year based on really our rankings and everyone's rankings of not even winning, just competing and being in a game and having a chance to maybe win. Because I think obviously Young Kings would have smacked, but Gentlemen's Club's a good team. They're a good enough team to compete against the bottom tier teams in this league, and they missed that opportunity. But with that being said, this is huge for the Young Kings. They already played Team Moose, Flint, Shocker. Those are three very good teams in this league. They've got TMC next, so they get that out of the way. Then they go Nick Strong, Rim, Sports Look, Chasers. They could relatively win two of those games, and they could finish the season with three, maybe if they overachieve, 4 wins. So I think the Young Kings are in a good spot, and they're coming. I mean, that one win it's a great booster. They have a good team, and this is the time where they need to put it together because they had the chance coming up. This is the opportunity.
Exactly, brother. And this was a chance, like we said, for the Gentlemen's Club to just have fun. Because I feel like they've gotten kind of boned in terms of their schedule. They played some of the best teams off the rip, and that's when you're out there getting blown apart, it's not fun. It's not it's hard to keep a positive mentality about the game of basketball when you're getting embarrassed in a lot of ways. I remember the Shocker game in particular. They were going for the biggest defeat of all time, so they really rubbed it in their face. I hope that didn't demoralize the guys too much, because
definitely
this would have been a game where, like you said, they would have just been able to have fun and compete and maybe be within 10 or 12 points, which is always just like a couple 3-pointers away from being in a game. I would have been, probably put like a 8 to 10 point spread on that game. We'll see, because
I put 20.
20. Yeah, the Young Kings, I just, I got to
15 maybe. I don't know.
I got to see them put it together on the court for a win this year to really give them my vote of confidence. But nonetheless, I would have had them winning that game by double digits. So to the next one and the last one, brother. Rim Breakers took on the Chasers. The last one was the best one, if you ask me, dude. This was the nightcap, and it gave us a great game. I always love when that happens, because it's like there's not that many people that stick around. It's just like all you hear is the feet in the basketball court and the sneakers. You know what I'm saying?
And the trash talk.
And the trash talk. Everything's amplified. It's actually
Stucky.
And Stucky, I wasn't there. Stucky left early for this one, but in most cases, when Stuck's around in those situations, he's front and center with the analysis. But this was a great one, Greg. The Chasers took on the Rim Breakers, like we said, and this was a win for the Chasers, barely by the skin of their teeth, 86-83. And this was just a game that we were really interested in, not only from a talent perspective, but a lot of these guys are really familiar with one another, on and off the court, from both teams, from legacy leagues and outside of the league, of course. And when a bunch of vets get together for a classic showdown, it always provides for some great entertainment.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got to shout out the Chasers. They played a hell of a game, especially introducing Jalen Graham, a former MVP, to the lineup. He had 18 points, 0 for 4 from 3, but he'll obviously be banging those very shortly, so watch out. But he's adjusted immediately, and he's coming. He's ready. I think him and Dominique Langston are going to play a big part. But shout out BS, Brandon Seabrook, 22 points, 8 of 15 shooting. He played a huge role, and he had a great game. David Armstrong remains one of the most underappreciated and underrated big men in this league. He's so dynamic down low, and there are not many people that can get in front of his shot. So they played a phenomenal game. The Rim Breakers continue. They're so weird. Pooch, shout out Pooch. Pooch, you're fucking balling, man. 29 points, 8 rebounds. Pooch is here. He's back, and Pooch is coming. That's the first thing. Second of all, the Rim Breakers they're 1-3, right? But they have the third most points in the league. They have the third most. The teams in front of them, Shocker City, Run TMC. Behind them at 5th is Flint Tropics, who are 4-0. The Flint Tropics are 4-0, and they're 5th in the league in points. Rim Breakers are 1-3 at the third. They're a weird team. They didn't have Gerald McLeese this game. I think if Gerald McLeese was here, they win this game, because Gerald McLeese is an absolute freak of nature down low. And I think we were talking one night about who's the best down low guy. I mean, I'm riding with Gerald McLeese any day of the week in that discussion. But I mean, what the Rim Breakers need to do is, I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe hit their threes more. They shot 25% from 3, but the Chasers shot 27%. It's just a weird start of the season for the Rim Breakers. Do not let their record deceive you. They will be there late.
I agree. They're I think actually both these teams will be
agreed.
playoff run teams.
Yep.
I think that's why it was such a good game, is because both these teams are really good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they only lost by 3 with no Gerald McLeese.
Right. And I think still if McLeish shows up, it still would have been a close game.
It would have, yeah.
It probably would have been, obviously, it would have been made a huge difference in terms of the score, but it would have been a close game still. So, you know, and a lot of times when the competition is elevated, like teams play down to other teams' levels sometimes. So, or in other cases, they play up to other teams' levels. So you never really know how one player would impact the game, you know, from circumstance to circumstance. You know, it always could be different. Sports have so many factors and variables, and that's what makes them great. That's why people that bet on sports, you know, sometimes you think you're a genius and you're on a roll, and all of a sudden, you know, things go wrong. I'm sure everybody who's bet on a sport can attest to that, because sports are just so unpredictable. So that's you know, even going back to the Gentlemen's Club, you know, always keep a fight, because you never know what can happen, you know. So that's going to wrap it up for the recap, Greg. That was some good analysis there, some good games, some no games, but all in all, it was another week in the books. So let's keep moving forward, brother. You know what's up next? That's our power rankings, man. So we're going to do 10 through 6, then 5 through 1. We'll start at the bottom. I want you to lead off with your 10 through 6 squad.
All right, so at 10, I got Gentlemen's Club. Unfortunately, I think they'll stay there probably for the rest of the season. At 9, I got Nick Strong. 8, I got Young Kings. You know what? At 9, I got Young Kings. 8, I got Nick Strong. 7, I got Moose. And 6, I have Sports Look.
You can't change them, Greg.
I'm changing them.
You're literally the worst. You know, we'll deal with it, Greg.
You convinced me with the Young Kings with the whole they got to prove it. I've seen Nick Strong play very competitive.
So you moved Nick Strong to your 8 spot. Is that what you just did?
Yep.
And you moved Young Kings down to 9, huh?
Yeah, the Young Kizzies are back to 9.
So Greg just copied me.
Love Eddie.
I got.
Oh my God! No influence at all.
At 10, Young Kings at 9, Nick Strong at 8, and then another little switch up here, Greg. I have Sports Look at 7 and Moose at 6, where you have Moose at 7 and Sports Look at 6. So, you know, build your case for Sports Look versus Moose.
Sports Look has been played better basketball throughout the season. I think Sports Look they know their team. They know what they are. I think after losing to Shocker City, they know what they are, and they compete in every game since then, and they've gotten some good wins. And I think that Moose losing Melquan, they have to rediscover that identity. And once they do, they'll probably pass Sports Look for me. But right now, I think Sports Look knows their identity, and Moose is still trying to find it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, you know, transitioning from, you know, a different identity, like we mentioned before, it's tough. There's definitely an adjustment period, but if you stick it out long enough, you know, things could go well. But yeah, I got for me, I just got Team Moose. I just believe in their process, dude. They're one of those veteran teams. They got good leadership. If Brad shows up, I believe in Brad. You know what I'm saying? So, it's for me. It's just you know, I probably am a little bit recency bias with Team Moose's success and going deep in the playoffs, opposed to Sports Look, who, while they're always a scrappy team, they're always a good team. They never really appear to be actual threats to win the entire
rough season last year.
Yeah, they had a rough season last year for sure. But, you know, with Team Moose, Greg, we had at one point Team Moose at number 1 in our power rankings in past seasons, and we believe them to be championship title contenders. So, you know, just based off that kind of stuff, I probably have a little bit of recency bias, but that's why we get our own set of power rankings to do what we want with them. So, you know, who's gonna say we're wrong? So let's do our last group, the top group, Greg, our 5 through 1. I want you to go now.
All right. So at 5, I got Rim Breakers. 4, I got TMC. 3, I got Chasers. 2, I got my babies, the Goat Tropics, and 1, I got Shocker City.
I like it. The Goat Tropics. That's a new one for you. So let's hear mine. For me, I got the Rim Breakers at 5, Chasers at 4, Run TMC at 3, Flint Tropics at 2, and Shocker City at 1. So, Greg, the only difference that we have here in this top 5, according to my list here, is that you have the Chasers at 3 and TMC at 4, and I have the exact opposite, where I have TMC at 3 and the Chasers at 4, and I let you build your case last time. So I'm basically just going to say, yeah, TMC hasn't been super impressive in all their wins this year, even, you know, in the loss, but nonetheless, when Reggie Stewart shows up, that team's a different animal. And when his guys show up around him too, he has all of his role guys on the court, and then Eric Langston and DiLeonardo and Joey's hitting threes. Team's nice, dude.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I actually have a good stat. The assist rate in essentially it's the, you know, how efficient are you and how many assists you get per quarter, and if you played the full quarter every time. And Eric Langston's second in the league with 2.8 assists per quarter, and that is just he's a big guy, and he leads the league in assists. I mean, Dob Migliaro's number one. Shout out my boys Flint. 3.4%, but you know, it's impressive. You know, I mean, number 3 in that is Jason Hernandez of Shocker at 1.9. So Eric Langston is that run TMC team is definitely scary. I agree, but I just think that the Chasers got a big win against Rim Breakers, who I had high in my ranking, so I just got to reward that. But I mean, it's just so hard, especially how close the league is now. The top 5 is so close. There's so many good teams. I mean, obviously, Shocker's definitely the number 1. There's no debate there. But, I mean, I can completely understand why you have TMC where you have them. But, I mean, I don't know what it is. I just believe for some reason at the end of the day, Jalen Graham and Dominique Langston might be playing in a championship.
Yeah, that would be absolutely unbelievable. I would love to see that, the Langstons going at it. But Greg, that was actually a good power ranking segment right there. I feel like we were more organized than we normally are. Had some differences, more differences than we normally do. So some good stuff there, Greg. So let's move on to the last and final segment of the show. Let's do our preview for next week's games, Greg. Right now we are tied up. We have a 10-4 record, meaning that we have each predicted 10 correct games, and we have predicted 4 games where we were incorrect. So we're tied up right now. It's neck and neck. I'm the defending champion, so I'm hoping to fend it off and get a good week under my belt. So let's get right into it right now, Greg. The first one is a pretty good game right off the rip. Shocker City taking on the Chasers. First of all, Greg, am I on the right week? Because remember last time I was on the wrong week. Am I on the right week? Shocker City versus Chasers?
You are on the right week.
Let's get it. All right, so Shocker City versus the Chasers. I got Shocker. Can't go against my number 1 team in the power rankings.
Yeah, I mean, Shocker City's so good. I don't know if I love my boys Flint. I got them forever. That's Flint, and I'll ride or die with them, and I will pick them, and I'll take my L. But I don't know if anyone's going to be able to beat this Shocker City team, man. They are so talented through, like, you know how in NBA 2K every player in the roster's rating goes into the overall team rating.
Right.
Even with Chris Rosinski's 65, they're still probably be a 99 overall team. It would not bring the team to it. It is unbelievable how talented they are. Brzezinski's bringing in Greg Daniels. This kid, next thing you know, this kid's going to be bringing in freaking Russell Westbrook. I just don't know where Brzezinski finds these players, how he's doing it. What are the contracts looking like? What are the incentives? I don't know. This Shocker City team is so good, and the Chasers are going to put up a hell of a fight. I think this will be close, similar to the Nick Strong game, because I think Shocker City is still trying to figure out how to play with each other. It'll be interesting to see if Deontay Washington goes, because that'll be interesting because it's their former team. I think if Deontay Washington goes, it will be a major blowout. But assuming DD doesn't go, I think it'll be like a 15, 10-point game around there. But yeah, I got Shocker City.
Yeah, that was a good long take there, Greg. But I like it. I do like it. I agree with all of it. And the 2K analysis there was the best part, if you ask me, because Chris just comes off as one of those guys. If you play like any Ultimate Team game mode, whether it's FIFA or NHL or Madden or 2K, Chris is that guy that bought his team. Chris is that guy that spent mad money and bought his team and runs it now. But he's the Danny Ainge guy. He just literally got all the best players out there on his team, and he truly enjoys watching them. Like he comes in for his several minutes a game and gets the most of them.
They get mad too. He didn't shoot a layup the other game, and they all were like, "Chris, what the fuck you doing? Shoot the ball!" It's like they wanted him to shoot. He's like, "What do you mean?" Well, whatever. It's too funny.
No, it's hysterical. But he's like a coach on the sidelines too. He gets hype and he yells and he gets pissed off when they're in close games. But he loves his squad. He rides or dies. But let's get on to the next one, Greg. The Gentleman's Club versus Sportslook. Hopefully, Gentleman's Club shows up. But I got Sportslook regardless.
Yeah, I got Sports Look too. I think if Gentlemen's Club shows up, they can absolutely. This is an opportunity again. They can make this a game. They can if they show up, and they don't have bad players. They ran into Shocker City. Like don't. Connor's sitting here. He got 100-piece by Flint. Like you see him still here. He's good. Like don't get down. I went 1-10 like 3 seasons in a row before we went like 3-6. And when I went 3-6, it was like, yes, we fucking did it. Like this Gentlemen's Club, show up and put a game in. You guys got this, but you don't got enough to win. I got Sports Look.
I like it. Next game, Greg, Moose versus Rim. I got this is tough, man. You know, as we were just talking about, I was just giving Moose the benefit of the doubt. And here I am picking against them here. I got the Rim Breakers winning this game against Team Moose.
Yeah, me too. I expect Gerald McLeese to be there, even if McLeese isn't there. I mean, I just think Pooch is going to be too much. I mean, unless Brad's back and Kevin's back and they're all ready and they're roaring, then it's going to be a game. And knowing this league, they will all be back. And then Connor Daly, like, will all of a sudden be on their team. And then, like, oh, Melquan all of a sudden changed hours. Knowing this league, because when we make picks, we get that happens all the time.
Yep.
But I'm going Rim. I just think McLeese, Pooch, they just be too much.
Yeah, it's that's a dynamic duo right there when those guys all show up, dude. I wish they had Turnbull, man.
Even Richard Bronson, man.
Yeah, Bronson's my boy, dude. I love Bronson, fellow Steelers fan. But yeah, I think that team would be so nasty if Turnbull was on that squad. I know that's speaking hypothetical, but man, I loved watching him in that red jersey with the boys. He was fun. He was fun to watch, and the best part about it was, like, I think, like, they were, like, super real contenders. Like, they came down to the wire to being in the finals last year. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they played the Blue Devils close. They played Shocker close. They played the Blue Devils were really good, obviously. Run TMC, they played extremely close. If Eric Singleton doesn't hit that 3, Rim was in the finals.
Mm-hmm. So I would love to see that squad back together. So I know we're almost running out of time, right? For add-ons, right? Are we past the deadline?
Yeah, we're past it.
Okay, so that stinks.
Yeah,
but let's not harp on it. Let's get on to the next one. Your boys, the Goat Tropics, quote unquote, from Greg Horn, taking on Nick Strong and the team of JJ Watts.
JJ.
So I got the Flint boys in this one, Greg.
Yeah, I got my boys Goat Tropics, baby. You know, ELE. Everybody love everybody. That's what my boy Jackie Moon says. My boy Ryan. That's what the squad Flint does. We get dubs, like I said, and we're getting another dub. Nick Strong. This is actually a good game for Nick Strong. Like I said, this team matches up really well with Flint. So, I mean, I think it'll be somewhat of a close game. But I mean, just the shooting prowess that Flint has showed this season is impressive, and I don't think they're slowing down anytime soon until they run into a more top-tier team. So, I mean, easy, baby. Flint Nation, we get the stub.
And last but not least, Greg, Run TMC taking on the Young Kings. I just put the word out for Run TMC as for being in the top 3. So, I ain't going back on that. I like Young Kings. Eddie's our boy, fellow analyst. But, I gotta go with the Commission's squad here, just based on Reggie Stewart and Howie Miller and Eric Singleton and all the studs on this team, Eric Langston included. But yeah, this is a stacked team, and I think that they'll be able to pull out a win here.
All right, what if I throw this at you? Pick this game, but what if I said you have to pick either? I'll make the line. Let's say, does Run TMC win by more than 15?
Yeah, I think
15. Do you take that?
I say yes. I'll take Run TMC plus 15 because but I'm banking on everyone showing up, dude. If everyone shows up, I see it happening. Like, for real, if they have Reggie, Howie, Eric,
15.5, and I bet you a pretzel on
it. Dude. Yeah, I'll take your bet.
All right, pretzel, the first ever pretzel bet.
Okay, first ever pretzel bet made here on the pod.
But I'm going Run TMC in the pick'em. No doubt.
Okay.
Too much. Reggie Stewart, Eric Langston, Howie's balling. He's starting to shoot. Joey found in his stroke. I think TMC's starting to cook.
Agreed. I think, like I said, that's gonna be it. So, Greg, hey, you did the intro. Now I'm gonna throw you a curveball. You're doing the outro.
Oh, awesome. Well, you know what? I'm ready to do the outro. Cue the music. It's like the Around the Horn victory music be going. I just want to shout out everyone who's balling. And, maybe we don't get to talk. I got so much stats that I never get to really talk about. So, I mean, shout out Shocker City. They lead the league in steals by literally 13 steals. So that's a very big margin. An interesting thing to note is the Flint Tropics, 63 attempted free throws. That is the most by a lot, 14. Another crazy stat to show you how good Shocker City is. They have 70 made threes. The closest is 47 run TMC. And then you got people like even Nick Strong, 50 league rebounds. My boy Ryan Florentine's balling. You have so many people in this league we can't talk about, and they're doing their thing. Danny Lopez leading the league in rebounds. Eric Langston's coming out of here looking like Jason Williams, elbow pass and 19 assists, leads the league. I'm just so glad the way this league's going because everyone's competitive outside of Gentlemen's Club unless they show up. And I really just want to thank everyone who listens to the podcast. And now I'm going to throw another curveball. Connor's finishing it up.
I'm just going to say peace out to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.